The moment I realized my own son had left me to die in the Seattle airport with a one-way ticket, my heart didn't just break. It shattered into pieces that cut me from the inside. For 42 years, I raised this man, and he discarded me like old furniture that no longer fit his decor. Dear viewers, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. But let me start from the beginning, from the day my life split into before and after. The smell of hospital disinfectant still haunts me. It's burned so deeply into my memory that sometimes, waking up at night, I smell it again. Walter lay on crisp white sheets. His hands, those hands that once built our home, fixed leaky faucets and gently stroked my hair, now looked waxy, alien. "Edith," he whispered, and I leaned closer to catch every word. "Promise me, promise you'll live, not just exist, live." I squeezed his cold hand. "I promise, darling, I promise." But how could I know then that life was preparing a trial that would make me rethink the very meaning of living? After the funeral, our home became a museum of our love. Every item screamed of Walter, his favorite armchair by the fireplace where he read the Sunday paper, the coffee mug inscribed, "World's Best Husband I gave him for our anniversary," the photos on the mantel where we smiled at the camera, unaware of how fragile happiness is. David arrived a week after the funeral, my only son, born through agony, nursed, raised, for whom I sacrificed countless times. He brought Lauren, who always looked at me like I was an obstacle to her goals. "Mom, we need to talk," David said, sitting on the couch. Lauren stood beside him, arms crossed, braced for battle. "Of course, dear. About what?" "Your future." Lauren said it like my future was a problem to solve. "We think you need a change of scenery." I looked at my son, waiting for him to object, to defend me. But David stayed silent, staring at his hands. "What kind of change?" I asked, though something inside me already stirred with unease. "A family trip," David said quickly, "to California, to Aunt Margaret. Remember her? Dad's sister. She's always invited you to visit." "Margaret?" Yes, I remembered her. We met a decade ago at some family event. She seemed cold, but Walter said it was just her way. "I don't know, David. I'm not ready for trips. The house, the memories." "That's exactly why you need to go." Lauren leaned forward, her voice sharp with steel. "You're stuck in the past, Edith. It's unhealthy." Her use of my name stung. Not Mom, not Mommy, just Edith, like I was a stranger. "Lauren's right, Mom." David finally looked up. "You've shut yourself off. Dad wouldn't want you suffering like this." Those words hurt the most. How dare he speak of what his father wanted? Walter would have wanted his family by my side, not plotting my exile under the guise of care. "Think about it," David said softly. "Margaret really wants to see you. A change will help." I looked at them, my son and his wife, and saw something that made my heart clench. There was no love in their eyes, only impatience. They wanted my agreement, not because they cared, but because they wanted me gone. "All right," I said finally, "if you think it'll help." Their relief was so palpable it stunned me. The next 2 weeks were a whirlwind. Lauren took charge of the trip, which surprised me. She usually avoided any effort involving me. I chalked it up to her wanting to help. "Don't pack too much," she said, watching me fold clothes into a suitcase. "It's warm there. You'll only need light stuff." "What about my meds, my documents?" "I've packed the essentials in a separate bag." She patted a small travel bag. "Don't worry." On departure day, David seemed nervous, checking tickets repeatedly, glancing at his watch. "Are you sure you're okay?" I asked. Of course, Mom. Just want everything to go smoothly. We drove to the airport in silence. I stared out the window at Seattle's passing landscapes, the city where I'd lived most of my life, met Walter, raised our son. Something told me this wasn't just a temporary goodbye. At the airport, David helped with check-in. When the agent handed me my boarding pass, I noticed it listed only one flight segment. David, there's no return ticket. What? He grabbed the ticket, scanned it. Must be a mistake. Let's ask. But as he spoke to the agent in hushed tones, his face showed no surprise. Mom, he said, returning, the return ticket's separate. Aunt Margaret will book it once she knows your return dates. It sounded reasonable, but his tone raised my suspicions. Lauren stood aside, and when it was time to say goodbye, her hug was cold, perfunctory. Have a nice trip, Edith, she said, her voice devoid of warmth. David hugged me tighter. See you soon, Mom. When exactly? I asked. Soon, he repeated, avoiding my gaze. The flight was uneventful, but my anxiety grew with every mile. I tried calling Aunt Margaret from the plane, but the number David gave me was invalid. At Los Angeles Airport, no one was there to meet me. I stood in the arrivals hall with my small bag, scanning for a familiar face. An hour passed, then 2. I tried David's phone. Disconnected. Finally, I approached the information desk. Excuse me, can you help me contact my relatives? I asked a young employee. Sure. What are their names? Margaret, I faltered. I didn't know her married name or address. I had nothing but her first name. The employee gave me a sympathetic look. Ma'am, maybe you should talk to airport police. They help in tough situations. Airport police. The words felt like a verdict. A 70-year-old woman alone in a strange city, no money, no plan, no way home. That's when the full horror hit me. I found a quiet corner and with trembling hands opened the bag Lauren packed. Inside were my meds, a change of clothes, toiletries, and an envelope. It held $500 and a note in Lauren's handwriting. Edith, we think you're better off starting fresh in California. The Seattle house is too full of memories. Find a good place to live. This money should tide you over. David and Lauren. I read it 3 times before it sank in. They didn't plan a family trip. They weren't bringing me back. They discarded me like trash. $500. For 42 years of motherhood, countless sacrifices, all the love I gave, $500 and a one-way ticket. I sat on a plastic chair in the airport and sobbed, not quietly but wrenchingly, as passers-by glanced at me with pity. Their sympathy couldn't heal the wound my own child inflicted. An hour later, my tears dried, replaced by pure, burning rage. How dare they? How dare they? I stood and marched to the payphones, hands shaking as I dialed David's number, not from grief now, but from fury. It rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Hello? Lauren's voice. It's me, I said, forcing calm. Edith, how's it going? You with Aunt Margaret? The audacity of her question stunned me. Stop, I said quietly. Just stop lying. Silence. I don't know what you... I found the note, Lauren. There's no Aunt Margaret. You and David planned this. More silence. Longer this time. Listen, Edith. No, I shouted, turning heads. You listen. How could you do this to me? How could my own son leave his mother to die in a strange city? No one left you to die. Lauren's voice turned cold, hard. We gave you a chance to start over. You're stuck in that house, in memories. It's unhealthy. Who gave you the right to decide what's healthy for me? Edith, be reasonable. You were a burden to everyone. David couldn't live normally, always worrying about you. Burden. The word hit harder than any blow. Let me talk to David, I said through gritted teeth. He's not home. Lauren, let me speak to my son now. He doesn't want to talk to you, she said calmly. He asked me to say you should build a new life. It's better for everyone. She hung up. I stood with the receiver, listening to the dial tone, feeling something break inside me. Not my heart, already shattered by Walter's death, but my faith in people, in family, in the meaning of a mother's love. Yet something was born, too. Resolve. A steely, unyielding determination to prove they'd made a mistake, that Edith Harrison wasn't done yet. I found a cheap motel near the airport and rented a room for a few days. $500 was laughable for starting over, but I was determined to stretch it. That first night, I didn't sleep. I lay on the stiff bed staring at the ceiling, planning. I needed a lawyer, a good one, to revise my will. David and Lauren expected to inherit our house, our savings, everything Walter and I built. They miscalculated. The next morning, I went to a nearby library and spent hours researching Seattle lawyers specializing in family law and estates. I chose Stevens and Partners, a firm with stellar reviews and relevant experience. Richard Stevens, the senior partner, seemed ideal. Mr. Stevens, I said when I reached his office. I'm Edith Harrison and I need help changing my will. Of course, Mrs. Harrison, can you come to our office? I'm in Los Angeles now, but I'll return to Seattle soon. A necessary lie. We can schedule for next week, he said. May I ask why you're changing your will? Family circumstances, I replied curtly. Very serious family circumstances. Over the next few days, a plan took shape. I couldn't return to Seattle, no money for a ticket, and I wasn't sure I could face that house after everything. But I could act from California. On my third day in the motel, something remarkable happened. I was in a cafe near the motel, sipping coffee and plotting my next steps, when a middle-aged woman with kind eyes approached. Sorry to bother you, she said, but you don't look like a tourist. Is everything okay? I was usually wary of strangers, but her voice held such genuine concern I couldn't lie. Not really, I admitted. I'm Rosa Martinez, she introduced herself. I work with an organization that helps seniors in crisis. May I sit? I nodded, and she sat across from me. Tell me what happened, she said gently. And I did. Everything. Walter's death, David and Lauren's betrayal, being abandoned at the airport with a one-way ticket. Rosa listened without interrupting, tears in her eyes when I finished. I'm Rosa Martinez, she repeated. I'm a coordinator for Silver Haven, an organization that helps seniors in tough situations. Silver Haven? I echoed. Yes. We help people find decent housing, access benefits, get legal aid. Most importantly, we help them see they're not alone. Rosa told me about Green Meadows, a residence in Oregon for people like me. It's not a shelter, she stressed. It's a community. People live in their own apartments but have support and connection. It sounds too good to be true, I said cautiously. I get your skepticism. After what you've been through, trust is hard. But let me show you photos, share stories. For 2 hours, Rosa showed me pictures on her tablet, read residents' testimonials. With each story, my hope grew. But I can't afford it, I said finally. I only have... Edith, Rosa interrupted. Do you have a house in Seattle? Yes, but... Then you have assets. We can help you sell it, handle the paperwork remotely. Meanwhile, you can stay at Green Meadows as a temporary resident. The offer felt like salvation, but part of me resisted. Why are you helping me? We're strangers. Rosa smiled. a sad, knowing smile hinting at her own pain. 15 years ago, my daughter did the same to me, left me in a nursing home and vanished. I had more money, so I got out on my own. Now I help those less fortunate. In that moment, I knew I'd met not just a kind stranger, but my savior. Before committing to Green Meadows, I had one matter to settle: justice. The next day, I called Richard Stevens again. Mr. Stevens, I want to fully revise my will, disinherit my son. That's a serious decision, Mrs. Harrison. May I ask why? I told him everything. He listened, asking occasional clarifying questions. I understand, he said finally. We can draft a new will, but I must warn you, your son could contest it, claiming you were emotionally unstable. That didn't scare me. I have witnesses to my mental state. Documents, too. The note they left, the tickets. Good. Then we can proceed. Who do you want to leave your estate to? I didn't hesitate. Silver Haven. All of it. Richard explained the process. Send documents by fax or email. Sign the new will with witnesses. One more thing, I said. Can I sell my house remotely? I need funds to relocate. Yes, it's complex, but doable. We can appoint a realtor through a power of attorney. The plan solidified. I'd sell the house, move to Green Meadows, and by the time David and Lauren realized their mistake, it'd be too late. Before burning bridges, I gave David one last chance, hoping deep down he'd see his error, apologize, and we could fix this. I called him late, certain he'd be home. Hello? His voice was wary. David, it's Mom. Silence then. Mom, how's it going? Enjoying California? Even now, he played this cruel game. David, stop. I know there's no Aunt Margaret. I know about the note. I know you and Lauren got rid of me. More silence. Longer. Listen, Mom. No, David. You listen. This is your last chance to make this right. Come get me. Apologize. Explain it was a terrible mistake. Then we can move past this nightmare. I heard his breathing, his mind wrestling with my words. Mom, he said finally, no remorse or love in his voice. Maybe it was harsh, but it's the right call. You can't live in the past forever. Dad's gone, and you need to move on. I need to focus on my family. I am your family, I screamed. I'm your mother. You were my mother. But now my family is Lauren and the kids we're planning. Sorry, Mom, but this is better for everyone. He hung up. I realized then that my son died to me the same day as my husband, maybe even before. That realization brought no relief, only a fury so intense I could have torn down the world. A week later, I was on a bus to Oregon. Rosa arranged my move, helped pack my few belongings, even paid for the ticket. Green Meadows exceeded my expectations, not just a nursing home, but a true community. Beautiful buildings amid green lawns and flower beds. People of all ages living fully, not just wasting away. My apartment was shown to me by Clara, a vibrant 70-year-old with bright red hair she dyed every 2 weeks to keep life spicy. Her infectious smile made me smile back. The first time in weeks I felt the tightness in my chest ease. Welcome to Green Meadows, Edith, Clara said, opening the door to a modest but bright apartment. This is your new home if you want it. The living room's large window overlooked a lawn where seniors played croquet, laughing and teasing each other. The kitchen had everything I needed, and the small bedroom with a painting of a sunset over the ocean felt like a fresh start. It's so alive here, I said, lacking better words. Clara laughed. That's because we don't just survive here, Edith. We live. We've got hobby clubs, dance nights, even a theater group. You can join yoga, pottery, or just sit on the porch with tea and watch the world go by. I looked at her. wondering how people who'd faced betrayal, loneliness, or loss found the strength to laugh and live on. "How do you do it?" I asked quietly. "Find the strength after everything?" Clara sat on the couch, gesturing for me to join her. "It doesn't come right away," she admitted. "When my husband died and my kids decided I was too old to live with them, I thought it was over. But then I came here. I found people who understand, not just sympathize, but know the pain. Together, we fix each other." Her words touched something deep inside. I wasn't ready to fully join this community, but the idea that I wasn't alone, that others had faced similar trials, gave me hope. My first weeks at Green Meadows were a cautious exploration of this new world. After months of solitude following Walter's death, every conversation, every invitation to dinner or a walk felt foreign, almost frightening. But Clara and Rosa were persistent, not pushy, but steady. They drew me into chats, invited me to events, and slowly I stopped feeling like an outsider. One morning, Clara knocked with a basket of fresh rolls. "It's baking day at the cooking club," she announced. "No excuses, you're coming." "I can't cook anything beyond eggs," I protested. "Then it's time to learn." She grabbed my hand and dragged me to the common room, where a group mixed flour, sugar, and spices. The cooking club was surprisingly fun. Me, a lifelong mediocre cook, found kneading dough and shaping rolls under Frank, a former baker with thick gray mustaches, oddly satisfying. He taught me to make perfect cinnamon rolls and shared his story, losing his bakery to debt, but finding purpose at Green Meadows. "You know, Edith," he said as we waited for the dough to rise, "life's like dough. Sometimes it doesn't rise how you want, but with a little warmth and patience, it still turns into something delicious." I smiled, his words settling deep. Maybe my life could still be something delicious? Alongside adjusting to Green Meadows, I worked with Richard Stevens. A week after moving, he found a realtor to sell my Seattle house. We set up a power of attorney, and the process began. "Edith," Richard said during a call, "your son might contest the sale if he learns you're acting through a proxy." "Let him try," I said coldly. "He abandoned me. Now I'm abandoning him." Richard didn't argue, but I heard concern in his voice. "I'll make the paperwork ironclad. But are you sure about disinheriting him? It's irreversible." I paused, not from doubt, but to ensure my decision wasn't just anger-driven. "I'm sure," I said. He made his choice. By the time the house sold, I was settling into Green Meadows. The sale netted about $400,000 after taxes and fees, my ticket to a new life. I used part to pay for my apartment and willed the rest to Silver Haven, my way of thanking those who saved me. Richard helped draft a letter to David and Lauren. I wanted them to hear it from me, not a lawyer or court. "David, Lauren, you decided I'm no longer part of your lives. You sent me to a strange city with $500 on a note, thinking I'd break. I didn't. I found a new home, new friends, new purpose. The Seattle house is sold, and everything I built with your father now goes to those who truly care for people. You get nothing. This isn't revenge, it's justice. Edith." I sent it certified mail to ensure they received it. I didn't expect or need a reply. Life at Green Meadows found a rhythm. I joined the theater group, playing small but meaningful roles, like an old woman teaching a young girl to value life. I poured my pain and hope into every line. Clara became my closest friend. We'd sit on the porch evenings, sipping mint tea, talking about life. She shared how her daughter, like David, turned away, and how she learned to forgive, not for her daughter, but for herself. "Forgiveness isn't saying they were right," she said one night. It's freeing your heart from their poison. I wasn't ready to forgive David, but her words made me think. Maybe one day I could let go, but for now, I was learning to live with the pain. Rosa invited me to share my story at Silver Haven's annual meeting, not for pity, but inspiration. "You're proof you can rise from ashes, Edith," she said. I agreed, though public speaking wasn't my strength. Standing before 50 people, my hands shook, but my voice was steady. "I'm Edith Harrison. A year ago, I thought my life was over. My husband died, my son betrayed me, left me at an airport with a one-way ticket. But I'm here to say, even when all seems lost, you can find a new path. I found mine here, with people who became my new family." The room erupted in applause. People hugged me, shared their stories. For the first time, my pain felt purposeful. It helped others feel less alone. Months later, I received a letter. Plain envelope, no return address, but I recognized David's handwriting. I sat at my apartment table, hesitating to open it. Part of me wanted to tear it up unread, but another part, the one that remembered teaching him to ride a bike, needed to know. I opened it. "Mom, I don't know where to start. I guess with, I'm ashamed. I didn't expect things to go this far. Lauren convinced me it was best. For you, for us. I believed her because it was easier than admitting I couldn't handle your grief after Dad's death. I was weak, and it's my fault. I heard about the house sale and your will. I don't blame you, I deserve it. But I want you to know I regret what I did. If you can ever forgive me, I'd like to meet. Not for money or inheritance, but to rebuild what I destroyed. Your son, David." I read it multiple times, grappling with my feelings. The anger that fueled me was fading, but forgiveness didn't replace it. Not yet. I tucked the letter in a drawer, deciding to think on it later. A year after arriving at Green Meadows, I'm no longer the Edith who sobbed in the airport, feeling abandoned. I've learned to bake rolls, act in plays, dance waltzes at community nights. I found friends closer than some family. Most importantly, I found myself. One evening, over tea with Clara, I told her about David's letter. "What will you do?" she asked. "I don't know yet," I admitted. Part of me wants to meet him, give him a chance. But another part fears it'll end in pain again. Clara nodded, gazing at the stars. "You've already done the impossible, Edith. You built a new life when all seemed lost. If you meet him, it'll be because you want to, not because you owe him. If you don't, that's your choice too." Her words helped me decide. I wrote David a brief reply. "David, I got your letter. Thank you for your words, but I'm not ready to meet. I need time to see if there's a place for you in my new life. I wish you well, but my family now is the people who took me in when you didn't. Edith." Sending it lifted a weight from my shoulders. Not forgiveness, but freedom. Green Meadows is my home. Its people, my family. I don't know what the future holds, but I know one thing. I'm alive, not just existing as I promised Walter, but living, fully, vibrantly, truly. And that, perhaps, is my greatest victory. Dear viewers, if you enjoyed the story, give it a like and share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you won't miss new exciting stories. See you tomorrow.